Corruption is a form of dishonesty or a personal offense which is undertaken by a person or an organization in order to acquire illicit benefits or abuse power for one's personal gain. It may involve many activities which include bribery, influence, peddling, and embezzlement. Nigeria is 145 least corrupt nation out of 180 countries, according to the 2023 Corruption Perceptions Index report by Transparency International. Obviously not a good record, but how do we tackle this and get the nation out of this list? My guest, Dele Oyiwale, spokesperson of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, will speak to us on efforts to curb this global menace. Mr. Oyiwale, thank you for joining us on Insights.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You know, curbing corruption is said to be everybody's business. Well, if it is everybody's business, why is it so hard to tackle?
Well, you know, the issue of corruption is a menace, is a contagion, is a cancer. You know, it is an issue that is at the heart of our developmental crisis and all of the issues that we have as a country. Yeah, so because this issue affects everyone, institutions, families, organizations, the nation generally, it is important that we all consider it an issue that we should all confront frontally. But unfortunately, because of some reasons that are at variance with our expectations, even as an anti-corruption agency, many Nigerians are still not enlisting in the anti-corruption fight. There is indifference, nonchalance, you know, some escapist tendencies, some excuses here and there. And those that are even committed, they are not fully committed. And that is why we are saying that it is a crusade. It is a clarion to every Nigerian that we should all come on board. Because corruption, if we allow it to continue, then our future as a nation is at risk. The future of our children is at risk. And that is the more reason why we are saying that there is need for public ownership of the fight against corruption. Everybody should see it as its own fight. If we do it that way, then it will be easier for us, you know, to tackle it as a problem. What I'm actually driving at is that there is need for increased commitment, increased awareness, increased sensitization, you know, of Nigerians to the fact that we need to confront corruption as a problem. Now, likely because of ignorance, I will look at ignorance. You know, many Nigerians don't think that the issue of corruption is an issue that affects everybody. They feel that it is an EFCC issue alone. They feel that it is an issue for the government alone. But it is not so. It is an issue for every Nigerian.
Why do you think people are really not committed to this fight?
There is a very, very little sense of responsibility in this regard. We owe the nation a responsibility to confront a problem that is threatening the existence of the nation. So there is need for greater, you know, sense of responsibility to the fight against corruption.
Of course.
And of course, those that are not fighting corruption, many times, are those that are benefiting from it. Because if you are not benefiting from a problem, why will you not confront it as a problem? So those that are not committed, that are always fighting the anti-corruption agencies, they may be people that are also benefiting from the menace. So if they are benefiting, they will not consider it as a priority. They will not consider it as a problem to be solved. So we might also look at it in that area.
Okay. Denmark, Finland, New Zealand, Norway, Singapore and Sweden are perceived as the least corrupt nations in the world. And then if you take a look at the 2023 Perception Index, there's a survey on Nigeria which is ranked at 145. Now let's leave the figures or the positions or the rankings alone. What is the yardstick and how do we remove Nigeria from this global table to reduce the menace?
My idea about the Corruption Perception Index is very simple. Well, I will give it to Transparency International because the measurement is called perception. It may not be empirical. It might just be a statistical thing. When you look at environmental realities, when you look at the issue of corruption nation by nation, you find that all of their parameters, all of these criteria of measuring corruption may be at variance with realities on ground. For example, in Nigeria, we know what the EFCC is doing is working to ensure that all of those issues of corruption around us are tackled. You know, I always tell people that those who face the teeth of the wind, they know how cold it feels. Anyone that has had an issue with the EFCC, you will know that the corruption is not joking. It's not joking. It's a very serious minded agency that is fighting this issue of corruption. So all of these realities might not be considered by Transparency International in coming up with a perception index. But all I know is that Nigeria is fighting this monster, and we are making progress. We are making impressive progress. We were able to recover more than 60 billion naira, made a conviction of well over 772 convictions in 100 days. And there are so many cases of politically exposed persons that are already, two former governors were arraigned within 100 days. And a Transparency International will say that Nigeria is not doing this, Nigeria is not doing that. The reality on ground is that the fight is on, and it is a strident fight. And it is a fight that those who are involved, those who have one issue or the other, they know. They know. So, well, let's leave Transparency International. The reality on ground is that we are working, and we are working very actively.
Before we talk more on efforts, because I would really like you to dwell more on that, you know, corruption is a global menace, and because it is a global menace, let's talk about political corruption. Are we truly winning this war?
For you to be able to tackle corruption as a problem, you must identify the roots. Political corruption, yes. Bureaucratic corruption, yes. But you see, the present leadership of the EFCC has been able to trace where the problem is. And that is why the leadership has come up with what is called the fraud risk assessment and control, to identify vulnerability to corruption. Where is corrupt practice? Where is it coming from? Now, tracing it to the procurement process, tracing it to contract award process, tracing it to expenditure control, and everything that is being done at the level of MDAs. So the fraud risk and assessment control initiative is a way of saying, okay, now this contract that you want to award, what is it all about? How much is involved? Where is it going? Who is the contractor? What is the time lag? You get all of these parameters and you track them. It is a preventive framework. It is a preventive initiative. You don't wait until the money is stolen. You know, by the time you do this for this agency, you do that for that agency, you find out that you will be able to bring the issue of corruption to the barest minimum. And that is what the leadership is doing. So, political corruption is from all of this. But when you take interest in how, for the movement of funds, the expenditure of funds, and all the loopholes, all the leakages, all of those areas where funds are being siphoned, then you find out that if you're able to control them, there will be little or nothing to fight, because preventively you have made it impossible for them, you know, to tamper with public funds.
Public engagements. What efforts have you made so far to make this war a meaningful one?
Yeah,
an impactful one.
Public engagement starts with you and I. You know, the civil society organization, the CSOs across the country, we are enlisting them. In fact, in the EFC, there's what you call the Interfaith Initiative. That is using the different faiths, the different religion that we have, and using that modality to appeal, to talk to the heart of our people concerning the issue of corruption. In fact, we have gone to the extent of devising manuals for preaching against corruption in churches, in mosques, and the manuals are ready. They were rolled out very recently when we had a national dialogue on cybercrime. You know, they were rolled out, and this interfaith initiative is one of the public engagement modality of the commission to ensure that we all fight this corruption. Civil society engagement at the level of our schools. The EFCC has what we call the zero tolerance clubs in all institutions of higher learning across the country. where students are enlisted, they are mobilized to join this club. We go there to sensitize them. We go there, to engage them, on this issue. It is for public engagement. You understand? So all of these things that we are doing it to carry everybody along. School children, faith people, civil society organizations, and there are other things that we are doing to ensure that everybody comes on board. Professional groups, trade groups, civil society group, we are all engaging them, and we are getting results. Through this engagement, we gather intelligence. Through this engagement, whistleblowing is done. Through this engagement, we are able to check some conduct, some practices, that are at variance with our expectation as a nation. For example, the issue of internet crime. We know that this is a crime that is rampant in institutions of higher learning, among the youth. So through the Zero Tolerance Club that we have already instituted in institutions of higher learning, we are engaging youth. We are talking to student union leaders, and we are engaging them. So by and by, you will see that this problem will come down, and we will be able to face our developmental journey, and it will be in the overall interest of the nation.
You just mentioned whistleblowing. Looks like whistleblowing is gradually phasing out. Or is it that people are not protected? When I see something, I say something. Will I be protected?
Well, people should be more involved in this area of whistleblowing. Nigerians should be more sensitive to what is happening to them, what is happening in their environment, to be able to offer useful intelligence to anti-corruption agencies. If you don't give information about a corrupt practice in your environment, it is either you are conniving, or you are ignorant, or you are indifferent. Yeah. So we believe that we can do better. Whistleblowing is still on, and it is still vibrant, but we can improve on it. Nigeria can still come forward and still do more in this area. Witnesses are protected.
Important issue I know your agency deals with is the issue of naira mutilation.
It is a criminal act. It's a criminal act. There are laws in place against this kind of practice. Spraying naira note, traveling on naira note, selling and buying naira notes. We call it a currency racketeering. And generally, naira abuse. It's not a cultural thing. It's not part of our social life. It's just that, number one, people are ignorant of the fact that it's a criminal act. Number two, those that are aware, they are still attaching, they are still pursuing this thing, stubbornly, in a way that may be a threat, to their safety or to their freedom. Because as it is now, the leadership of the EFCC is very serious about this issue of naira abuse, and we have made quite a couple of arrests. The recent one is Bob Risky. There are many other arrests that have been made. We have well over 23 convictions that have been made between February 7, 2024. Convictions are going on. There are so many suspects, that are awaiting conviction at different levels of our court in Nigeria. More than 170 now. So it is an issue that the media should focus, should do more enlightenment, more sensitization about, so that Nigerians will not fall, into this issue. It's not part of our social life. There is nothing in our social life that should indulge or that should encourage criminality. So anything that our laws say is wrong, that is wrong. And of course, our laws will have its place. So that is it. It's not part of our social life. People should stay away from abusing the naira. They should stay away from mutilating the naira and all of these things. And of course, anybody that does not want his freedom to be tampered with, you don't want to be arrested, you don't want to be convicted, then you stay away from naira abuse.
Okay, just on a lighter note, Mr. Oyewole, have you been able to convince members of your household on this issue?
Household as in?
Family members, friends, no spraying when we have a gathering?
Of course, there is no member of my household, my own household, that will do some kind of thing, because they know that it is criminal. They are aware of what we are doing as a commission, and they are following the trend, the pace, the stride of the commission. And I think if you educate members of your household on this issue, then the problem will be minimized. Members of your household, I have children, they can't do that. My wife cannot do that. I can't do that. Members of my extended family, they cannot do that, because they know that it is criminal. They know that our laws are against it. and they wouldn't want to do anything that is at variance with the law. So I think at the level of household, awareness should be generated more and more, so that people will not fall into this issue. It is an issue that is wrong. It is only in Nigeria that we have this kind of thing. The sum and substance of everything is that let us be engaged, let us be involved, let us be more interested in what anti-corruption agencies are doing, and of course, we'll be able to uncover whatever strategy, criminals will be employing, against us.
Dele Oyewale, spokesperson for the EFCC, I want to thank you so much for joining us
for having me. Thank you
on
so
Insight
much.
this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And that's it on this episode. To join us same time next week for more on Insights. My name is Nnamdi Odipo.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.